Hi, I'm Nancy Tyree, the Agency Initiatives Manager with the Indiana Department of Revenue, also known as DOR. And today we're going to be talking about the Tax Amnesty Program, including what it is, how you can learn about your eligibility, and how to participate. While the information I'm sharing today is accurate and up to date to the best of our abilities, be aware it is subject to change and meant to provide general information rather than guidance on any specific tax situations. Later on, I'll talk about the best ways to find information, stay up to date, and talk to amnesty experts during the official amnesty period. So let's get into it with some basic information about Tax Amnesty 2026. Last year, House Enrolled Act 1001 was signed into law, which requires DOR to conduct a tax amnesty program. Similar programs took place in 2015 and 2005, so if this sounds familiar to you, that might be why. As with past amnesty programs, this program is meant to benefit taxpayers who have outstanding tax liabilities by allowing them to pay off their tax liabilities during a specific window of time without also needing to pay any of the accrued penalties, interest, or collection fees. The official amnesty period is an 8-week window. It runs from July 15th through September 9th, 2026. DOR is partnering with United Collection Bureau, UCB, to administer this program. One of the best resources to get more information about amnesty leading up to when it begins and during the program is the Tax Amnesty website. I've included a URL for it here. It is taxamnesty.in.gov. I'll refer to this website a few times throughout the presentation, so I wanted to make sure you have that URL up front. Now, let's discuss who can participate in amnesty. There are two things that can impact whether you qualify: you, the taxpayer, and your liabilities. Let's start with your liabilities. To participate, your liability must be for a tax that's collected and administered by DOR or Motor Carrier Services. That includes things like Indiana individual income tax, sales tax, withholding, corporate taxes, and so on. When we're looking at Motor Carrier Services, it includes things like Indiana-specific IFTA or IRP liabilities. If you have liabilities for anything else, such as property taxes, federal taxes, or taxes paid to other states, they are not eligible for this program. The other big factor is the period in which your taxes were originally due. If your liability is for a tax period ending before January 1st, 2024, it will be eligible. If it's for a more recent tax period, it will not be. For example, if you filed your Indiana individual income tax return for 2025 in April this year and you owe taxes on that return, those liabilities won't qualify for Tax Amnesty 2026 because they're too recent. However, if you have older liabilities, particularly anything due in 2023 or before, they will be eligible. As for what kind of taxpayer qualifies, the answer is most of them. Individuals and businesses can take part, as can residents and non-residents. If you file Indiana tax returns and you have qualifying liabilities based on what we just covered, you can participate. The easiest way to know if you're eligible is by checking your mail. UCB and DOR are sending letters in the mail to taxpayers that our records indicate have liabilities and are eligible to take part. Most of these will have been sent out by July 15th. Some may be sent after amnesty officially begins. And it is possible for a taxpayer to be eligible and not receive a letter, especially if the address we have on file with you is out of date. So if you meet all the qualifications already discussed, but don't have a letter, you can still participate. And I'll talk more about how to do that in a moment. As for who can participate and who cannot, the biggest disqualifying factor is previous amnesty participation. If you paid an amnesty-eligible liability in full and had related penalties, interest, and collection fees waived during 2015 or 2005, you will not be eligible to participate in Tax Amnesty 2026 even if you're otherwise fully eligible. Be aware, if you started progress on paying your liabilities during one of the last amnesty programs, but did not end up paying all liabilities in full before the respective amnesty cutoffs, you did not successfully participate. Therefore, you would be eligible to participate now. There are a few other factors that may disqualify you. For example, you can't participate if you've been found to have previously filed a fraudulent return, but those are relatively rare circumstances. Amnesty participation is not mandatory. It's an opportunity for customers to be relieved of penalty and interest without incurring any new assessed penalties. That being said, it's important to be aware that if you qualify but choose not to participate, your penalties will increase after the end of the Tax Amnesty 2026 window. For many taxpayers, they will double. Now, this doesn't apply if the only liabilities you owe are from 2023. Those penalties will remain the same after the amnesty window closes because they're so recent. There are a few other particular groups who can take advantage of amnesty but will face no additional penalties if they choose not to participate, and I'll go into detail on them later in this presentation. You'll want to keep all of this in mind when deciding whether or not you want to take part. Now, let's go over some key dates in the Tax Amnesty 2026 timeline. Right now, you can check your eligibility on INTIME, which I'll talk more about in the next section. The official amnesty window lasts from July 15th through September 9th. That is the only time that you can make payments or set up payment plans for amnesty. And if you do that, you'll have until June 7th, 2027 to pay in full. You cannot establish an amnesty payment plan outside of the official amnesty window. So if you haven't done that or paid in full by September 9th, you won't be able to participate in Tax Amnesty 2026. Now that we've gone over the basics of amnesty, I'm going to show you how you can find out if you have amnesty eligible liabilities yourself online right now using DOOR's Eligibility Tool. The tool is available on INTIME, and I've included the URL for INTIME right here on this screen. The eligibility tool allows you to enter some basic information so you can learn if you have amnesty eligible liabilities. Using the tool does not lock you into participating in amnesty in any way. It's just a way to learn if you're eligible. You also don't need an INTIME account to use it. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's the INTIME homepage. The first panel on the left side of the screen, titled Tax Amnesty 2026 Eligibility Tool, is what we want to use. If you click on the second link in that panel, it will take you to the Tax Amnesty 2026 website I mentioned earlier for more information. For now, let's select Check if you are eligible. Clicking that link will take us to this page, which gives us more information about amnesty and what you need to use the tool, including your name, ID, and one other piece of information. If you received a letter in the mail from DOOR or UCB notifying you that you're eligible for amnesty, it will contain an amnesty case ID number, which you can use here to verify your identity. If you lost your letter or never received one, you can instead provide a line item from a past return, a recent payment amount, or a letter ID from any other letter we've sent you in the mail. Once you've read everything, select Next at the bottom of the screen. The next page will ask if you are a business or individual, and the following page will ask for your ID, name, and email. Then you'll provide a tax account type, and this field has several options to choose from. If you don't have a business, you'll likely just want to select Individual Income Tax. If you have multiple tax accounts, you just need to select one here for verification purposes. The tool will assess if you are eligible with any of the accounts, not just the one you selected here. I'm showing you a business account, so let's select Sales Tax, enter the Amnesty Case ID to verify our identity, and select Next. This is what will be displayed if you're eligible for Tax Amnesty 2026. It's the same for businesses and individuals. And if this page says you're eligible but you're not ready to take action yet, you can sign up for email reminders. You must select Yes, then hit Next and Submit on the following page to receive those reminders. This option for a reminder email won't be available after August 24th. If you're ineligible, you'll get a screen that appears like this instead. As you can see, the tool is very simple and does not provide more details beyond if you're eligible or ineligible. So if you want to know more, the best way to do that is by logging into your INTIME account. If you use this tool and don't have an INTIME account, this last screen will ask you if you want to sign up for one just above where it asks you about email reminders. Now that I've given you the basics of the Amnesty Eligibility Tool, let's discuss a little more about what participation in the program starting on July 15th will be like. If you want to participate, the first thing you should do is check your eligibility. As I just showed you, you can use our tool or refer to any letters sent to you by DOR or UCB related to amnesty liabilities. If you've done that and are told you have no eligible liabilities, but you think you should have one or more, please verify that you've accurately filed all required past tax returns. We may not know about a liability if you haven't filed the associated return in the first place. And if you have estimated bills because you did not file for a past period, this is especially important. We recommend filing those returns as soon as possible so you can know that the amount you owe for amnesty is as accurate as possible. Businesses can file past year corporate, sales tax, and other business-related tax returns on INTIME. It will take us a day or two to process these, after which you can learn on INTIME if you're eligible for amnesty using the tool or just by logging into your account, as well as what your exact liability is on your INTIME account. Individuals cannot file past returns online, so they will instead need to mail these in. To help with that process, we've included instructions on our website, the URL provided on this screen, under Scenario 1, Filing Individual Tax Returns for Previous Years. Once we receive a past year individual return, it usually takes about 2 weeks to process, after which you can check your INTIME account to learn if you're eligible for amnesty and what your liability is, if so. Remember, July 15th through September 9th is the official amnesty window. That's the only time when you can get enrolled in amnesty and either pay in full or set up an amnesty payment plan. And setting up a payment plan during that window will give yourself more time to pay. If you've decided to participate in amnesty, there are several accepted payment methods, including bank payments, debit or credit cards, and checks. There is a processing fee for debit or credit card payments, but not for the other methods listed here. Also, ACH processing can take some time, so please expect at least 9 calendar days for ACH payments to be made to UCB and reflected on INTIME balances. If you do not see those payments applying right away, that is okay. Give it time and they will. There are also several ways to make your payments. The easiest way is by calling UCB's amnesty phone line, which is listed on the screen. Or you can use INTIME to make payments online, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. You can also schedule an appointment at any DOR office to make a payment in person. Some offices require an appointment, so please make sure you see the website to set one up and get more details. Or, finally, you can mail a check to the P.O. box listed on this screen, and make sure that that check goes to this P.O. box. Payments mailed to any other DOR address will not be considered amnesty payment plans or amnesty payments, and you will not receive the benefits of participating in amnesty if you mail it to another location. Now, all of these are valid options to make payments, but be aware if you have questions or want to know more about your liability before paying, UCB and INTIME are going to be the best options for you because you'll have access to customer service teams who specialize in amnesty liabilities and related issues through those channels. Since there are several ways you can pay, I wanted to note that if you make a payment through one of these methods, it might take our system a day or two to process that payment. So please do not, for example, pay through UCB, check your INTIME account shortly after, see that your payment hasn't been applied yet, and try to pay again through INTIME or by sending a check in the mail. If you do something like that, it will result in duplicate payments, and we'll need to manually cancel the second one so you're not charged twice. If one of these payments is made on INTIME, you may be able to cancel it yourself, but only if you cancel it on the same day as when you make the payment. Otherwise, if you realize you've made a duplicate payment, please get in contact with us so that we can help you cancel the second one. If several days pass after paying, up to 9 days, as I mentioned earlier, if you're making an ACH bank payment, and you don't see that your payment has then applied on INTIME, you can send us an INTIME message and we will help make sure that your payment gets applied appropriately. I'll show you how to send a message in a moment. As already mentioned, amnesty payment plans are a good way to give yourself more time to make your full amnesty payment. Individuals have to owe at least $100 and businesses have to owe at least $500 in order to qualify. You can check your status and make payment plan payments through INTIME or UCB's payment portal, which you'll be given more information on if you set up your payment directly with UCB. And again, please don't try to set up a payment plan with both UCB and on INTIME. This will create duplicate payment plans, which again, we would need to manually fix. Let me show you what you can do on INTIME if you have an account and are logged in, or if you're a tax practitioner with an EPOA when viewing your client's information. Practitioners need to click into their client's account to see what I'm going to show you now. So this is the first page you'll be directed to once you log into INTIME. It is your logged in landing page. The first panel is dedicated to amnesty, so all users can know right away if they're eligible. This is what the screen looks like during the amnesty window. If you log in after September 9th, not all of these links will be available. Speaking of links, on the right side of the screen in the Tax Amnesty panel, there's several that you can select. One says, view more information about Tax Amnesty 2026. That will take you to the website that I've mentioned earlier. So for now, let's focus on the other options in this panel. If you know you want to participate in amnesty, the first thing you need to do on INTIME before you can use it to make payments or set up payment plans is to officially opt into amnesty. This is very important. Please make sure that you have officially opted into amnesty before trying to make payments or setting up payment plans on INTIME. It is very easy to do. All you have to do is select the Submit an Amnesty Agreement link. It's going to take you to a page that spells out everything you're required to agree to before opting in. If you've already opted into amnesty, either through INTIME or UCB, this page will indicate that, and it won't allow you to opt in a second time. There is a checkbox in the top left and bottom right corners of this page that you must click in order to submit it. Then you'll select Next, provide your digital signature on the following page, and confirm your request. And that is it. It may take a few minutes for your submission to be processed. Also, if you've opted in with UCB and are checking your INTIME account after, it may take a day or so for DOOR's system to receive that information from UCB and update your account accordingly. But once this page indicates that you're opted in, you can officially take other amnesty actions on INTIME. Be aware, opting into amnesty through this INTIME link is not the same as successfully participating in amnesty, which, as I mentioned earlier, is only something you've technically done once you've paid your amnesty liabilities in full. If you opt in here and later aren't able to pay your liabilities in full, you are not going to face any additional penalty. You'll generally be subject to the same penalties you would have if you'd never opted in at all. So opting in here does not prevent you from opting out later or penalizing you if you do that, if you choose. It isn't legally binding on you unless you also successfully complete amnesty, in which case you have agreed to the terms that are listed here on this slide. So opting in here, for now, really just opens up other amnesty-related payment tools for you to use on INTIME. Now, if you go back to the homepage and select View Your Amnesty Eligibility, you'll be taken to a page that shows you if you're eligible to participate, whether or not you've agreed to participate in amnesty, and what your amnesty balance is if you have any. Your amnesty balance is what you'd owe if you participate, which is something everyone who's eligible will likely want to know before deciding to take part. For more details about balance, go back to the previous page and select View Amnesty Case Detail. This shows us if you've opted into participating in amnesty, what your total balance is, if you're on a payment plan, and whether that payment plan is with INTIME or UCB. On the right side of the screen, you can also see a field called Amnesty Penalty. What that does is it provides you a total of the penalties you've accrued on this liability that will be waived if you participate in amnesty, which is another very useful thing to know. Also, please be aware of the status field here. It says new because this example user just opted into amnesty. Once you make a payment, it will change to say in progress, and it will stay that way until after amnesty concludes and all payments have been processed and reviewed. So don't be alarmed if your status still says in progress at the end of amnesty. It should change to say closed for all customers around October. If you select Make an Amnesty Payment, you'll be given the option to make a bank or credit card payment. Then you'll be asked to agree to the terms you acknowledged when opting in before you can provide your payment information. After submitting and confirming your payment, you'll be shown a confirmation page. This process is very similar to making a regular bill or return payment on INTIME. When establishing a payment plan on INTIME, you'll be required to agree to the terms of the amnesty payment plan as shown here. Then you can determine your own payment frequency, installment type, and the date of your first payment. You may receive an error message if you attempt to request installment amounts that are too low to cover your full liability, or schedule payments to take place after June 7th, 2027, which is the amnesty payment plan deadline. If you receive an error message, just go back and correct whatever it is that supplied the error message to begin with. After you set up your payment plan, you'll get a breakdown of what's due when, and you'll have the chance to go back and adjust the plan if you need to. Once you confirm the plan, you'll enter your payment information, then view a summary before submitting the request, and a confirmation page will appear after. You can always review your payment plan details at a later date after submitting. The easiest way to do that is to go to the All Actions tab on your logged in homepage. Then in the Submissions panel, select Search Submissions. Find the link to your amnesty payment plan, click on it, and you can review the information you provided when you set the plan up. Also, if you've already made a payment with UCB that's been processed by DOOR, your INTIME account will reflect this, and it will show you a message in the payment section indicating that you paid with UCB and need to contact them if you have questions. If you go back to the first page, you can also select Ask a Question About Amnesty, where you can ask us questions about amnesty. You'll be directed to a page where you can tell us which account your message is concerning, either by selecting an account type and period, or just selecting this message doesn't concern a specific account. Then on the last page, you can type your message to us, and you can even upload an attachment if you need to. Once you submit your message, it will be sent to the DOOR Amnesty Escalation Team, who will respond to your question. INTIME messaging is a good way to ask us questions about your particular situation and tax account without needing to call. Now, Let's switch gears a little, and I'll show you what will be displayed for people who are logged into an INTIME account but are ineligible for amnesty. On the landing page, the Tax Amnesty panel is still listed at the top, but here it states you have no amnesty-eligible liabilities. If you select View Your Amnesty Eligibility, it'll take you to a page that says the same thing. So if you're not sure why you're ineligible, you will probably want to look through the rest of your INTIME account to find if there are any instances that, as we discussed at the beginning of the presentation, make you ineligible or make the liability that you owe ineligible. So for this customer, let's go back to the landing page and scroll down until we find a link that says View Financial Summary, Returns, and Periods. Click on that and you'll be able to see if you have any existing liabilities and what they are. For this example customer on the screen, the financial summary shows that they have a liability, but it was from 2025, which is not an eligible period for amnesty. Now, there are some customers, when logged in and viewing eligibility, who may see a unique message here that says they are ineligible but can still participate. If that is the case for you, you're in a special situation that I'm going to talk about in just a bit. You will likely get a letter in the mail with more information before amnesty officially begins. Please send us a message on INTIME if you see that wording here, but do not receive one of those letters. So let's talk about those specific scenarios. There are a few groups who qualify for amnesty, but won't be subject to additional penalties and interest after amnesty if they choose not to do it. This includes taxpayers who are in the protest or appeals process, who have a legal hold, who are currently in a payment plan, who have an active taxpayer advocate office case like a hardship, who are under audit, or who have declared bankruptcy. As I just talked about, all these taxpayers will be sent a letter in the mail with more details relevant to their specific situations, because they'll need to do some particular things in order to take part in amnesty if they choose. I'm going to share the highlights here of what they need to be aware of. Most taxpayers who are currently on a non-amnesty payment plan for a liability that qualifies for amnesty will get a letter in the mail. If customers in this situation choose not to participate, they do not need to take any action. Their existing payment plan will continue under its original terms, and they will not incur any additional penalties or collection fees once amnesty ends. Alternately, they can choose to participate in amnesty, but they will need to get in touch with us to do that, because non-amnesty payment plans do not automatically transition to amnesty payment plans. If you want to do this, please do not attempt to cancel an existing payment plan yourself on INTIME. Instead, call the number on the letter you received during the amnesty window or send us an INTIME message. The INTIME team will be able to cancel your existing plan for you and help you pay in full or set up an amnesty payment plan. If a taxpayer has an appeal or protest in progress prior to amnesty, that appeal or protest will be put in a hold status. Taxpayers in this situation will receive a letter from DOOR with specific contact information that they can use if they have questions or want to participate in amnesty. They will also not be subject to the additional penalty if they choose not to participate in amnesty during the appeal or protest process. But if they choose to participate, they waive the right to appeal or protest that liability going forward. Lastly, if a taxpayer is applying for or already in progress on an existing offer in compromise or claim for hardship and is otherwise qualified for amnesty, they can halt the OIC or hardship process and take part in amnesty by contacting the Taxpayer Advocate Office, TAO. If that taxpayer takes no action on amnesty, their OIC or hardship claim will continue as usual. Be aware, there are no payment plan extensions available for the Tax Amnesty 2026 program, even in cases of severe financial or medical hardship, the way there often are for non-amnesty payment plans. So please contact TAO for assistance outside of amnesty terms if you qualify but are concerned about that possibility. There are some other kinds of liabilities that are eligible for amnesty and won't face additional penalties and interest if they choose not to participate. I'm just going to mention them here. As discussed earlier, if you only have liabilities for 2023, you'll face no additional penalties for choosing not to participate. If this is the case for you, you don't have to take any particular special action in order to participate. The steps that I mentioned earlier in the presentation are all you need to do. Additionally, if a taxpayer is in bankruptcy, they may qualify for amnesty and be eligible to participate. We recommend, if you have questions about how amnesty might impact your liability, to please consult with your bankruptcy trustee and/or attorney, as they will be best positioned to advise you as to how you should handle this situation. So now we've discussed several scenarios where a taxpayer may have eligible liabilities, but should take some extra steps to make sure they handle them correctly. It is possible for a taxpayer to have multiple types of liabilities too, meaning each liability would need to be handled differently. For example, a taxpayer could have one liability that can be handled through UCB or on INTIME, and another that's being appealed or is being addressed through a pre-existing payment plan, which requires them to contact other areas of DOOR to participate. If you have multiple liabilities, that might mean that you need to take different steps for different liabilities in order to participate. So if that's the case for you, keep all this information in mind and contact us with questions, either through the contact information you receive by letter in the mail or by sending a message on INTIME if you're ever not sure what you should be doing. Lastly, once amnesty-eligible liabilities are paid in full, any related liens will be released, and you can request a tax warrant expungement. Expungements are available on INTIME. Find the case in question and select Request Expungement, then fill everything out after you have made your payment in full. If you do that, INTIME will automatically pull some of the required information from your account to submit the expungement request, making it very straightforward to do. You can also file your expungement by paper by filling out the expungement request form available on our website and listing Tax Amnesty 2026 in the box that asks for a reason for the request before mailing it in. Either way, an amnesty expungement requires less supporting documentation for us to process and approve than a regular non-amnesty expungement request. DOOR will not begin reviewing any amnesty expungement requests until after amnesty, probably around mid-October. Additionally, all amnesty expungement requests must be submitted to us by June 15th, 2027 to be considered. Before we wrap up, I wanted to give you a few resources to help you learn more and proceed with next steps if you decide to participate in the program. If you need to get in touch with us about amnesty, remember the two best ways to do that are by calling UCB or sending an amnesty message on INTIME, which will go to the amnesty escalation team. Not every staff member at DOOR or UCB is going to be able to help you with your amnesty-related needs. So if you're accustomed to contacting DOOR or UCB's general customer service teams or tax practitioner hotlines, you may find yourself being redirected for amnesty issues. Do your best to call the correct contact phone numbers if you need to get in touch with these teams. Also, while UCB can help with most amnesty cases, there are some special situations that I discussed earlier where you'll need to work with a specific team. You'll generally know if you're in that situation if you receive a letter in the mail directing you to contact an area like our protest team, the Taxpayer Advocate Office, Motor Carrier Services, or another area of door that's best suited to help with your specific situation. If you don't have a letter on hand and you're not sure who you need to contact, sending an amnesty message on INTIME is a good step. The Tax Amnesty website is a good source of information, including FAQs, guides for specific scenarios like what to do if you need to close a business, how to file a past return, if you have trouble creating or logging into an INTIME account, and more. We'll be updating this page with more information throughout the Amnesty program as needed. Finally, I encourage you to sign up for DOOR email updates if you haven't already. You can do this by visiting the Contact Us page of our website and signing up for agency announcements. Be sure to sign up for the monthly Tax Bulletin newsletter for the latest news from DOOR in your inbox once a month. That's it for now. Thank you for your time and attention. We're happy to be able to offer the Tax Amnesty 2026 program to Hoosier taxpayers. And if you're eligible to participate, we hope to hear from you before September 9th. Thank you again, and have a good day.